call me Mystic Mike because I predict these things.
Antonio Trocoli takes on Mansur Abdul Malik this Saturday at UFC 323. And Mansur Abdul Malik, undefeated heading into this fight, and you can tell that he's the type of guy that the UFC is trying to build. They give him Wes Schultz in Dana White's Contender Series, who again, Wes Schultz, not awful, just won his second shot at Dana White's Contender Series with a Sulaev stretch against a guy who was 7-0. But then he gets Dusko Todorovic, Nick Klein, Cody Brundage, and now Antonio Trocoli. So I just feel like the UFC is feeding this guy cans, trying to get him on a streak. They see a lot of potential in him. I get hints of like John Jones from him. He's a very high-level wrestler, tall for the division, much more power than John Jones, better striker. But I just feel like they're trying to build this guy as the next big thing in the middleweight division. 28 years old, not even into his prime yet. And Antonio Trocoli, just not the best fighter. Last time out was over a year ago. Lost to Trayshawn Gore by guillotine choke in the first round. Not a great look. Took on Shara Magomedov before that. Just wasn't really doing much on the feet. Ended up getting knocked out by Shara Magomedov, who's not really the type of guy to get knockouts. He's more the guy to kind of just outpoint you and win a decision. Does have a knockout over Armin Petrosian outside of that, but in the UFC, kind of a decision machine for the most part. And I know he's a jiu-jitsu black belt, but I just don't really see him getting any success going on the ground against somebody like Malik, who was a D1 wrestler. I think he wrestled at like heavyweight, maybe. I might be remembering that incorrectly, but Malik's just huge for the division. Tons of power on the feet. Can get the fight to the ground if needed and stay safe from the submissions, I think. And he'll be 6'2" with a 79.5-inch reach to Antonio Trocoli, who's 6'5", 80-inch reach. Trocoli's not going to have this reach advantage that he's used to having. I don't see him being able to defend the takedowns against Mansur Abdul Malik, who's also a jiu-jitsu brown belt himself. Trains at an MMA Masters. So just tons of momentum. I think he's much more well-rounded. I think he's got much more finishing ability wherever the fight goes. I think he can get the knockout on the feet. I think he can take him down, look to land ground and pound, put him out that way. I think he can find submissions as well. So I just think that Mansur Abdul Malik, much better overall fighter than Antonio Trocoli, who I feel is just not the most durable guy. I feel like he kind of fades easily. He's fought some decent guys on the lead up to his UFC debut, but he did win his Dana White's Contender Series fight. I think he popped like steroids or something, but before that, beating a guy 2-6, 21-13. Lost to a 7-3, 10-4. Lost to Jacob Volkman. Back in 2016, Jacob Volkman's like a natural welterweight. And then before that, 24-9, 3-2. So I just don't feel like he's the most tested guy in the world. I feel like they're giving him another shot coming in off of 2 losses in the UFC. And I think they're just using him to build Mansur Abdul Malik. So I just don't see a lot of pathways to victory for Trocoli. I don't think he's going to chin him. I don't think that he's going to find a sneaky submission against somebody as big and powerful as Mansur Abdul Malik. And Malik didn't have the best performance in his last fight against Cody Brundage. I will admit that. He should be running through somebody like Cody Brundage, but made it pretty competitive until the fight ended the way that it does. But I imagine he will run through Antonio Trocoli in this fight and get it done by finish. Thanks.